In this episode, we're going to be talking about what seed oils are, why they're harmful, and most importantly, what you can do today to start avoiding them and be part of the growing movement to get them out of our restaurants, our grocery stores, and those fast food menus. Because if we work together on this, we can get vegetable oils out of our diets and start to restore our health and still enjoy beautiful food that tastes amazing without the side dish of chronic illness. Welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I'm Lisa Roers, your host, and hey, thanks for joining me today. I'm here just to pour some positive back into your day with practical tips and stories to encourage and inspire. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I'm Lisa Roers, your host, and I'm all about finding ways to encourage you. And well, I get that encouragement means different things to different people. For me, I feel most encouraged when I'm equipped and empowered, especially when it helps me make better choices for myself and for my family. If you've been following the podcast here for a while, you know that I'm working on my PhD in natural medicine, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. But one of the big ones is because I've learned that while doctors know a lot and they absolutely deserve our respect, no one, and I mean no one, knows your body better than you. So today, I want to have a heart-to-heart conversation with you about something that's been quietly affecting our health for decades, this thing called seed oils. With all the conflicting information out there, it's hard to know what to believe. But here's what I do know. Knowledge is power. And my goal today is to empower you so you have the facts to make informed decisions for your health and for the people that you love. Now, one of the people that I have learned so much from is an amazing friend of mine by the name of Dr. Chris Kenobi. He's an ophthalmologist and a nutrition researcher who's been sounding the alarm about seed oils now for more than 10 years. His work connects these seed oils, or also called vegetable oils, to a long list of chronic diseases that have become far too common in our modern world. And the data is compelling. Dr. Kenobi will be presenting his findings this weekend at the Public Health Collaboration, or PHC, conference in London. It's a huge event being held at the Light in Euston, London, and it's the UK's largest event dedicated to lifestyle medicine and preventative health. And here's the exciting part. You can watch the live stream. I'm not an affiliate, but I believe in this so much that I want you to have the information. And I think for less than $100, I think it's around $80 US, you can purchase an online streaming pass for the 2-day event. And it's even less if you're a PHC member. But the mission of PHC is to just inform people and help them make sustainable lifestyle choices for better health and happier living. And I love that. So I just wanted to make you aware of it so you could potentially jump in and sign up for that conference that's coming up this next weekend. Okay, so why am I talking today about seed oils? Well, aside from the fact that it's one of Dr. Chris Kenobi's passions, it's because for more than a century now, we've been sold a lie, told that these oils are really good for us, but in reality, the truth is quite the opposite. And it's time to shed some light on that. You can't be an effective advocate for your health or your families if you're not aware. So my sincere hope is that after today's episode, you're going to walk away with more knowledge, more clarity, and feeling more empowered. So let's dive in. Vegetables are good, right? So vegetable oil must be a healthy alternative to animal fat, like tallow, right? Sadly, nothing could be further from the truth. Even though they're called vegetable oils, and that name surely sounds healthy, it's really just a clever marketing trick to get people to think what they're eating is good for them. These oils do not come from broccoli or carrots or anything green and leafy, and they don't carry any of the helpful nutrients that vegetables give us. These oils actually come from seeds, and not in a way that your body likes. In fact, seed oils are among the most highly processed substances in our food system. They are literally industrial byproducts. And yes, they are toxic to the human body. If you didn't know this already, you need to know this because these oils are triggering a cascade of health problems. And more scientific studies are confirming what many of us are experiencing firsthand. So what exactly are seed oils? Let's start with maybe one of the most common ones, canola. Canola oil is actually a made-up word that comes from the combination of can, from Canada, CAN, and the first letters of oil, low acid, or OLA. So you have CAN, OLA for canola. And what it actually is a type of rapeseed oil, not grape with a G, but with an R, rapeseed oil. And it's one of the most prevalent seed oils in our food today. You'll find it at your local restaurants, in your kids' school lunch, on the grocery store shelves, at the salad bar, and in many of those prepared meals. It's everywhere. But my friends, it's also toxic. Other forms of vegetable oils or seed oils include soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, cottonseed oil, grapeseed oil, I already mentioned rapeseed oil, rice bran oil, and plain old generic vegetable oil, which is usually just a really cheap blend of the toxic oils I've already mentioned. I challenge you to take a walk through your grocery store sometime when you have an extra few minutes. Look at the ingredient labels. Try to find a packaged food without seed oils. It's harder than you think. Once you start looking for these things, you'll be shocked at just how much of it we're eating without even knowing it. And that's not an accident. I'll tell you why. Back in the early 1900s, about 125 years ago now, food production started to change in some really big ways. Crisco hit the market in 1911, which is made using hydrogenated cottonseed oil and was and is marketed as a cheap alternative to lard and tallow. And it took off. In fact, my sweet grandma, who was a huge, huge part of my life and unfortunately passed away far too young from bone cancer, used Crisco in everything. I literally mean everything, from cakes to cookies to breads and pies. She was, after all, the head cook of the entire local school system. So when that amazing woman cooked, she cooked for the masses. And she was told Crisco was safe. But we didn't know. Just like we didn't know about the dangers of smoking or other things that we have since grown wiser about. We just didn't know back then what we know today. Fast forward a few decades now, and seed oils are in everything. Processed foods and snacks and crackers and organic chips and cookies and so-called healthy granola bars, baked goods, breads, organic dried fruits even, frozen meals, salad dressings and condiments. And the list goes on and on and on. And if you eat anything fried, yep, it's probably cooked by soaking in a bath of seed oil. But it wasn't always this way. Actually, McDonald's originally used beef tallow to fry their famously tasty French fries, and they did so up until 1990. This gave their French fries that deep, savory flavor that so many people remember and long for. So why the switch? Well, in the late 1980s, there was a growing fear around saturated fat and its supposed link to heart disease. That fear was stirred up by a millionaire activist named Phil Sokoloff, who launched a nationwide campaign urging fast food chains to ditch those animal fats. Under that pressure, and many other factors too, I'm sure, McDonald's switched to a vegetable oil blend in 1990, marketing it as a heart-healthy choice. But what most people didn't realize, and scientists too at the time, was that this so-called healthier oil was actually a seed oil, usually soybean or canola oil. And these fats are high in omega-6 fatty acids and prone to oxidation, especially when they're heated over and over again like they are in a deep fryer. So ironically, while the switch was meant to be a healthier option, it actually introduced a whole set of problems for our health. And let me touch on just for a moment about that false statement that saturated fat causes heart disease. Some of those marketing campaigns still continue to linger in the minds of our parents and grandparents, even though large meta-analyses like those published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and the British Medical Journal have shown no clear link between saturated fat intake and increased risk of heart disease. In fact, some studies suggest that replacing saturated fats with seed oils that are high in omega-6 might actually increase inflammation and cardiovascular risk, especially when seed oils are processed or repeatedly heated, which of course they are at those fast food restaurants. And the taste, well, it's just never quite been the same. So what's the big deal about seed oils? And honestly, a better question might be, is there anything good about them? Now, to be fair, because someone could argue this, Yes, seed oils do contain trace amounts of certain nutrients, but those tiny bits of nutrients are completely overshadowed by the toxic way these oils are made and the damage that they do to our bodies. So let's talk about how these big companies make all of that oil from those tiny little seeds. To extract that tiny amount of oil from one hard little seed, companies use high heat and tons of chemicals, including solvents like hexane. Then they bleach and deodorize the oil to make it look and smell more appealing. And sure, regulators say that these leftover chemicals are within safe limits, but more and more health experts are starting to question whether any amount of this kind of processed seed oil is considered safe for us. And those health regulators are not considering the layered effect of these chemicals. We don't, after all, just have one serving. It's literally in everything we eat. So we're getting multiple servings of this toxin every single day, and we're getting it multiple times per day. Now, I mentioned earlier that seed oils are loaded with omega-6 polyunsaturated fats. Now, I know that's a mouthful, maybe an unfamiliar word for you as well. Well, let me explain it like this. Our bodies like balance. All right, so picture a teeter-totter. We all remember teeter-totters from the playground at school, and it's all about balance. You have to have similarly weighted people on both sides to make that work. But in this particular example, you got 15 big, happy, energetic golden retrievers on one side of your teeter-totter. That represents the omega-6s. And on the other side, you got one big, happy St. Bernard who represents the omega-3s. Now, technically, both sides have big dogs, but one side has 15 of them and one side has one. And that teeter-totter is going to go down hard on the golden retriever side. Well, that's what's happening to our bodies. The ideal balance of omega-6 to omega-3 is more like 3 to 1. So 3 Goldens to 1 St. Bernard. But the standard American diet is more like 15 or even 25 to 1. So picture 25 highly energetic golden retrievers to 1 St. Bernard. Suffice it to say, there's way too many high energy Goldens and not enough calm, cool St. Bernards. Our bodies do need some omega-6 fats, but the balance is really important. And when that balance gets off, well, inflammation starts to run wild, which is like throwing gas on the fire when it comes to chronic disease. And we all can see that inflammation-related diseases are at an all-time high. There's even research from Weill Cornell Medicine showing that linoleic acid, which is one of the main fats in seed oils, can actually promote aggressive breast cancer cells to grow. That's not a rumor. That's a peer-reviewed published finding. So why are seed oils still in everything? Well, I'm sure you could probably guess. The answer is quite simple. They're cheap. They don't spoil quickly, and after all that bleaching and deodorizing, they don't change the flavor of the foods. And that makes them a food manufacturer or business owner's dream, and a completely hidden toxic hazard on our plates everywhere we go. But here's the good news. Just because they are everywhere doesn't mean you have to eat them. Knowing what to look for and what to ask for can empower you so you can reclaim your health. And that's where we're going next. So now you know a little bit more about seed oils, but you might be wondering, what can I actually do about it? And the good news is that you can actually do a lot. First, let's talk about making some personal swaps. This is the simplest place to start, and it matters more than you might think. Every little change you make adds up, especially when you're feeding a family or eating several meals a day. If you can eliminate seed oils from just one of those meals, then you're making huge strides to help your health. Eliminate seed oils at 2 of the meals? Even better. Don't aim for perfect, just aim for progress. So, what are some healthy swaps that you can make? I have 5 of them for you. But before I go through those 5, I want to quickly touch on a couple things to look for with regard to any oil. First of all, look for the word unrefined. Unrefined, cold pressed is always best. While your manners and your skills are good things to refine, the oils you eat are not. Unrefined oils are closer to how they are found in nature, so look for those words unrefined and cold pressed. And second, let's talk about heat. A heat-stable oil means the oil can withstand higher temperatures without breaking down and starting to oxidize. Oils that are heat stable retain their nutritional integrity and are less likely to form harmful compounds when they're used at high temperatures. By high temps, I mean anything that's above the oil's smoke point. That's another term. But the oil's smoke point is simply the temperature at which the oil visibly starts to smoke. That's a sign that it's starting to degrade. For many oils, like soybean oil or corn or canola, that smoke point ranges from about 300 degrees Fahrenheit to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. For my Celsius friends out there, that's 150 degrees Celsius to 232 degrees Celsius. And when these unstable oils are heated beyond their smoke point, like when you're frying them in a deep fryer or baking at high temperatures, the chemical structure of the oil breaks down and starts to form toxic byproducts, such as oxidized lipids, aldehydes, and free radicals. These are the dangerous compounds that cause cell damage and increase inflammation in our bodies, and have been shown to be linked to serious health issues like heart disease, cancer, and neurodegenerative conditions. So, repeated cooking with unstable oils, like in deep fryers, turns them into toxic health hazards. Okay, so instead of those dangerous oils, I have 5 oils for you to look at, which are healthy alternatives to seed oils. Some are better for high heat than others, and I'll explain that as we go. These oils are natural, unprocessed, and your body knows exactly what to do with them. All right, number 1, butter or ghee. Yes, full fat, full flavor, fully awesome butter. And you get bonus points if it's grass fed. Remember, whatever that animal ate is what you're eating. So cows were meant to eat grass, not corn or processed grains. In addition to butter, you can use ghee, which is just kind of a funny word for clarified butter. And it's a fantastic option for cooking at higher temps. Butter and ghee are rich in fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, and they support brain and hormone health. Okay, number 2, coconut oil. Very stable at high heat and full of beneficial saturated fats. Coconut oil contains MCTs, which many of us have heard about. That stands for medium chain triglycerides. That's a big word, but basically, coconut oil boosts brain function and supports our metabolism. Number 3 is olive oil, and I highly recommend olive oil with one caveat: don't ever cook with it. While it can be used if you're cooking at lower temps, using it in its raw form will preserve all the great nutrients and health benefits. So use it over your salads and your veggie drizzles. Just make sure it's real extra virgin olive oil, because restaurants and grocery stores brands are mixing olive oil with all sorts of seed oils to try to make it cheaper. So consider finding a third-party tested olive oil, like one is snake oil. Yes, it's actually called snake oil by Brian Johnson, or another brand that's been third-party tested, and you'll enjoy the heart-healthy, inflammation-reducing benefits of real, authentic, awesome-tasting extra virgin olive oil. Okay, number 4, avocado oil. Like butter and coconut oil, avocado oil is a great choice for high heat and offers a neutral taste, so you can use it in lots of different recipes. It's also high in heart-healthy monounsaturated fats and antioxidants. And number 5, tallow, lard, or duck fat. Again, go with natural, hormone-free, grass-fed options when available. But these traditional animal fats are making a comeback, and for good reason. They're stable, they're natural, they're flavorful, and they're packed with nourishing fats and vitamins that support healthy skin, good brain function, and cellular health as well. Okay, so in addition to making some good swaps from bad oils to good oils, another thing you can do is start reading your ingredient labels and read them like your life depends on it. Because honestly, it does. The days of just shopping and eating blindly have got to be a thing of the past. We have to take ownership of our health. Even when we're shopping at a Whole Food store or another organic co-op, we've got to look at our labels. And really, our best bet is not to buy things that have labels at all. Buy instead things that are whole foods, like fruits and vegetables. But if you're going to buy anything with a label, like crackers or granola bars or salad dressings or anything packaged, flip it on over and look at the label. Watch out for those seed oils. I'm going to list a bunch of them here, so here we go. Seed oils would include soybean oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, and rapeseed oil. they are two different things: grapeseed and rapeseed. Rice bran oil, sesame oil, peanut oil, or anything listed as vegetable oil, which again is just a combination of some of the seed oils I already listed. Since the ingredients that are listed on that ingredient list are listed in the order of concentration, if you find seed oils in those first three ingredients, set it back down on the shelf and walk away, my friend. However, if it is toward the end of the list, make a thoughtful choice. Keep in mind how many other products you and your family are eating with those bad oils. In a perfect world, which of course we do not live in, we wouldn't have any of those seed oils. But if you choose to eat something that has seed oils, at least be aware of it, and also make it the exception and not the norm. There are companies out there now making really tasty potato chips with avocado oil and other options, but you have to give yourself some time to learn and just figure out what to look for. Give yourself a lot of grace, but start making better choices. Okay, the next thing I want to help you out with is what to do when you're eating out. And this is one of the hardest things because someone else is preparing your meal and you have no idea what's in it. And even those fancy farm to table or organic sounding restaurants, yep, they still use seed oils. Why? Because they're cheap and because they have a really high smoke point, which is great for a restaurant manager. But as a manager of your own health, not such a good choice. So, what can you do when you're eating out? Well, first, the easiest thing to do is bring your own well sourced olive oil along with you and use that to drizzle on top of your salads and maybe over on top of some steamed vegetables. But also, ask the restaurant manager what they use to cook with. Ask if they can make your dish with butter or coconut oil instead. It might feel a little awkward at first, but when you ask, you not only learn more about what you're eating and putting into your body, you're also planting a seed. No pun intended. And your question will show the manager that people are looking for healthier options. This, my friend, is how we start to create change. Because when enough people start to ask for changes, restaurants will start to pay attention. In fact, this has been proven true. Back in 2022, Chipotle announced that they were testing out avocado oil in some of their pilot kitchens. Why? Because the customer demanded it. Your voice matters. And you can take this even one step further and use your voice to influence the health of our kids. Whether or not you have kids, this is the future generation of our country. So by investing in our kids, we're investing in our future. Kindly and respectfully ask the food service director at your schools what kind of oils they use for preparing foods. Ask kindly if they'd be willing to consider switching their oils to be a healthier, non-seed oil. And bring the research from this episode with you. You can also ask ChatGPT for research studies and articles so you are armed with the data to help others learn and understand. This does not need to be confrontational, just a calm, beautiful conversation. And a calm conversation can go a long way. Okay, next up, what about your church, your local hospitals, or even your workplace? Are you actively involved in a church community or a corporate environment, a mom's group, or other social gathering that often has food and snacks? Share what you've learned. You don't have to preach it, but let people hear your story and what you've learned and help educate them about what's hiding in those snacks we thought were healthy and why it really has nothing to do with our weight and everything to do with inflammation, hormones, chronic disease, and even our mood and mental clarity. A study in the Journal of Lipid Research found that high levels of omega-6 fatty acids, like those found in seed oils, they accumulate in our brain cells, and they can actually disrupt how our brain signaling works. That's right. Seed oils not only affect how we feel physically, but they affect how we think and how we process information every single day. That brain fog so many are experiencing could be coming from just the amount of seed oils we're taking in. So in addition to talking to your schools and talking to your churches and workplaces, you could also talk to your local grocery store. They too are listening for what their customers want. And most local grocery stores track customer requests. If you notice your store doesn't carry enough options without seed oils, or their deli is only using canola oil, make a request that they consider making a change. Write an email to the manager or fill out a comment card next time you're in the store with an extra minute or two. If you're able, email the corporate offices and make a respectful request for them to consider making a change. You, my friend, are not alone, and the more of us that we get making kind, respectful requests, the more power we have to influence change. Yeah, it's going to take some time. And maybe the chances of change are low and slow. But if we never ask, if we never make our requests known, well, then the chance for change is more like zero. This is how we shift things. In fact, this is how things shifted restaurants to using seed oils in the first place. Surely we can work together to influence them to shift back to healthier oils. In fact, the reason we even have coconut oil and avocado oil on the store shelves today is because enough people like you and me asked for them. 20 years ago, those oils were pretty niche health food items, but now you can find them almost anywhere. Change starts small, but it doesn't stay small. Together, we can shake that food industry from the ground up and create a future where we can trust what we buy at the grocery stores again. And we can trust that when we go for fast food, it no longer has to be a toxic food experience. It can actually be healthier food. When we take the steps to create change and we begin by swapping out the oils we put in our own kitchens and in our local restaurants and in our workplaces, churches, and hospitals, we can feel more empowered, like we are making a difference. And that difference will pay dividends for decades and decades to come. Together, we can bring food back to what God intended it to be: clean, nutrient-rich, nourishing, honest, and full of life. All right, my friend, we've covered a lot today about seed oil, so let's land this plane and summarize some of the big takeaways. We talked about what seed oils are and what they're not, why they're dangerous and what they're doing to your body, and also what action you can take today to make a difference. So I have 3 main takeaways for you today. 1, seed oils are not vegetables. Don't let the names fool you. These are highly processed industrial oils like soy, canola, corn, safflower, sunflower, cottonseed, grapeseed, and rapeseed, and a whole bunch of other things, including that mystery blend called vegetable oil, which were made and marketed to make money, but are literally toxic to our human cells. Seed oils are packed with omega-6 fatty acids that oxidize easily, especially when heated up, which can crank up the inflammation in our bodies and are linked to heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and even cancer. The good news is there are so many better options. In your kitchen, reach for grass-fed butter, ghee, coconut oil, avocado oil, or good quality tallow, lard, or duck fat from pasture-raised animals. And remember, real extra virgin olive oil is great, but don't cook with it. Use it for your salads or cook your vegetables first and then drizzle it on top afterwards. That'll maintain all of those precious nutrients that your body wants and needs. Number 2, there are simple things you can do to take action today to make a difference. But start simple. Swap the oils in your home, flip the packages over, read the labels, and if you see seed oils listed in the top 3 ingredients, leave it on the shelf. Ask the restaurants you dine at what oils they're using and have some similar kind of curious conversations at your local schools, your church, your workplace, and even your local grocery store. You have more influence, my friend, than you think. You're casting a vote with your dollar for your health. One person's vote might seem small, but when thousands of us get together and we start asking questions like this and making the changes, well, that's how things start to shift. And number 3, start today and make some clean swaps. Just pick one product or one meal this week. Next week, try adding another. Tiny little wins create big momentum. And if this episode was informative for you and helpful, then share it with a friend. That's the easiest way to get this information out there. Just share the link out to friends, comment below the video right here with your biggest takeaway, and encourage others to do the same. Let's get the conversation going and join the momentum for getting seed oils out of our food system. Thanks for joining me today, friends. You are powerful, and your simple request for foods that do not contain seed oils has more influence than you might realize. You can rewrite your health story and help your family and friends along the way. One label, one swap, one prayerful step at a time. Again, please share this episode and help inform others about how they can join the movement and get the seed oils out of our foods. Check out the links here in the show notes for the PHC conference that's coming up in London this coming weekend. Until next time, my friends, be encouraged, be informed, take action and be inspired. And I'll see you right back here next time at the Sunshine Cafe.